driving, but I said I'd be gone for a while, but what the heck, I'll do a little short video because some interesting things have happened. One in the crypto markets, but also a really interesting report regarding the CIA and their ability to even control their assets overseas has come out. And in fact, they're talking about a lot of agents that have been either uncovered or killed, and in some instances flipped. And they mentioned the Pakistani government, or I believe that the ISI, which normally they're friendly with us to a certain extent. They're, from my knowledge of it, and they're a fairly sophisticated intelligence group. And but anyway, apparently they flipped some of our agents over there, which turned them into double agents, which sounds like some kind of spy novel. But it made me think, and you might remember this, when I believe maybe it was under Clinton's watch as head of the Secretary of, or head of the Department of State, that there was somehow leaked names of operatives within China, and the Chinese government, or that was what we thought happened, because the Chinese government was able to uncover a lot of the operatives that were operating there, and it captured, killed them, a number of different things. But it made me think about that, and I was almost wondering if this is part of that same leak in a more systemic fashion, and now that or if, who knows what happened, but it'd be along the same lines. But it's very telling about basically disintegration of our defense apparatus when you look at how the military has been operating in the recent weeks, which is actually systemic over a number of years, where this level of decay has come into the military, or you can say it's been rapidly metastasizing within this last year especially. But this is something that's happened over a number of years, even when I was in, and that was under the Obama administration and Trump. And then I was under, before Obama and the Bush era. But in the Bush era, it was still pretty hardcore. It was in the later stages of the Obama era where we started getting a lot of pushing of other agendas outside of war fighting. And then under Trump, Trump had the best intentions, but there were still all these political motives being pushed inside the military. But we can start seeing I think we're starting to see the real cracks in the armor with regard to that, and the CIA as well. And I don't know what to tell you, but that's organization so compartmentalized. So there's, who knows, what groups within there are actually operating. But it's interesting that this article comes out. So this tailwind with that, there's another article that just came out from the New York Times talking about the weapons that were left in Afghanistan. So if you ever wanted a 50 cal, a M2, a Ma Deuce, and you didn't want to deal with the hassle of the U.S. government, you can go and the Taliban, maybe not the Taliban directly, but in Afghanistan, they're selling it in shops. They're selling those. They're selling M4s. They're selling Kalashnikovs, stuff that we, supplied them. I guess you can get night vision goggles over there, and they're in gun shops, and you can get ammunition. So if you ever wanted an M2, you can somehow go over there. You probably pick up, a pretty good MRAP or something over there. I mean, it sounds like there's becoming a market there, even though the Taliban says that they're accounting for all these weapons and ammunition, which I don't think they are ready to administratively control the whole of even Kabul, to be honest. So these things get through the cracks, even if they were the best intentions, which most of us don't give them that credit. So either way, there's been photos out. If you look at the New York Times article, these weapons are being sold at market, and the M4 going for $4,000. That's a little steep, but I don't know what they're doing for the Ma Deuce, but you probably get a pretty good deal on that one. And the Kalashnikov's $1,100. You get a really good one. I'm joking a little bit, but if you could actually go over there, you can arm yourself pretty well, probably better than some normal infantry units that we have. But anyway, so let's go on to the markets. The market's ripped up the last couple days. mainly because of the debt ceiling, which I don't understand that. It's like, hey, let's put more debt. Let's put more pressure on the debt markets. Let's monetize the debt even more, because we're going to 3.5 trillion. If you believe that's the actual number, I don't know what to tell you, because we know that that is just a preliminary number, that it's going to be way more than that. When are they ever right on the budget? But it was Mitch McConnell made it super easy for me. He folded like a wet paper towel, and then he needed 10 Republicans, and apparently he's got them now. And I looked through the list, and it's not, it's the Murkowskis and the Cornyn and the Collins types, but then Barrasso's on there, Senator Barrasso, which I would, can't believe. I held him in a lot more esteem, even though he's not up there with like a Rand Paul with me or a Mike Lee. But, he was more of a mid-tier type guy that I was like, well, he has some sense to him. He's a medical doctor as well. He's from the great state of Wyoming, and very, should be very conservative, but he's in there with them. So now they're going to be able to hold cloture vote on this, pass this budget, or the debt, raise the debt ceiling, and then get on with the budget, which that's craziness. So you raise the debt ceiling, which I didn't understand. Let's let it just hit it. Let's hold our line on that. I guess I might have confused you about that. I meant McConnell caved on the debt ceiling talks. Now the budget thing, we'll see. I mean, they're going to cave too on that, but they're allowing them to go till December with the debt ceiling, which which again, there'll be some hoopla about that, and it'll get raised again, or totally disbanded at this point, because we're in peak. We're getting close to just complete. We're at peak insanity, but the peak keeps getting further up the mountain. We're building a mountain here of insanity. But with that debt ceiling raise, they painted it as though like we had to get it so we can pay our existing debt. So I mean, we have income coming in. What you'd end up doing is having to cut some of these services. Maybe you could cut the IRS a little bit, or we can cut unnecessary workers, close things down. I don't care, but do something. But the government's becoming ever more part of the economic system. This is how you crowd out, capital markets. We're like I said, this is just fundamental disasters, and we're heading into one hell of a collapse here soon. Which anyway, let's go into the crypto markets, because I'm going to start covering a little bit of the crypto, because I'm starting to get interested in that. SHIBa Inu, which is a token, along with Bitcoin, they were skyrocketing, and it could have been over some of this budget deal, but you got a new class of investors that is like, well, I'd rather just put my money in there. It seems like that's where things are going, which I don't blame them. But SHIBa Inu ripped like 400%, and I wish I'd have bought a whole bunch of that when it was like at whatever 10 thousandths of a penny. But it's coming back down, and if you look at the levels, I look at it from a technical analysis, it did a really good, consolidate up to almost, challenging its old highs when the first mania started, earlier this year. But now it pulled back, and I think what is happening, I was telling somebody on Reddit, it was like, to me, and I told them this before this move even happened, it was still going up. I was like, we kind of need to pull back. It's going to pull back eventually here soon, and we'll establish a new base, and that's what it kind of looks like in SHIBa Inu. Now in Bitcoin, I think we've hit that 50,000 mark, and as long, these are all psychological. It's like, I don't see, they're proof, like Bitcoin's a proof of work thing, and SHIBa Inu has a fixed amount of tokens, but to me, there's no like really intrinsic value, like use. Like I said, Bitcoin, I see there is some use case for that. SHIBa Inu, maybe we start using it for commerce, but it's not like a gold or silver in my mind. But psychologically, if people are accepting it, and the psychological component, and you have a number of people that have bought in at a certain level, you create these technical places that are resistance and bases, or bases for price bases, or bottoms, whatever you want to call them, support levels, just from these psychology of people and buyers and sellers. So we're seeing that build in SHIBa. We're seeing that, and it looks like 50,000 is probably going to be Bitcoin, another support level there. but we'll see around there. It seems that Bitcoin's held pretty steady in that 40-something thousand range, and now has pushed up over 50. But it's very interesting because I've, like, through the Reddit stuff that I'm involved in, people are asking if these are good price points, especially on the SHIB, because SHIBa Inu is a new darling of the crypto markets. It's like, it's one of the most popular coins. It's been introduced on Coinbase. It appears the whale that's been in there is Robinhood, so probably going to get listed on Robinhood relatively quickly. It's easy for people with a little bit amount of money to get into it. So people are asking if it's a good time to get in. I can't give financial advice on here, which I think is just insane. But I would say, like, just in general principle, you put, you start slowly buying. You don't put a whole full position. But like right now, we've had a great pullback, and if you look at Fibonacci retracement levels, you can base that on your entry points if you want to. Right now, I saw it looked like it was 40% off the high. I haven't been able to. I've been on the road, so I haven't been able to look at where that Fibonacci trends will sit. But even right here, when it's establishing, when it's holding a support level or whatnot, you can put like your first position on there. If it goes up, you can buy up, because if it builds momentum. But otherwise, you can buy here, and then if it breaks that, you go to look at the next support level, you put another position in. But don't just go in all at once. That's what I've told people. It's just like, hey, look at these key technical, because the technical levels are psychological levels of people, and you can slowly get into it. And then if you really want to get deep, then you can stake that. So you take it and you, depending on what exchange you're in, like if you're in a crypto.com, you can go stake it for a month, or you can do a flexible stake where you're getting 0.5%. So you're making SHIB off of your SHIB, better than what you're doing in a bank account. I'll tell you that, getting even 0.5%. Or you can do a month and do one, or you can do 3 months at 2%, and make SHIB if you're, actually holding for long term and you're not really paying attention to these price action currently, which that's what I would do if I was somebody, because really I think that you're looking for that. To me, you got these catalysts that have already come through with SHIBa Inu. Now you're looking for that Robinhood catalyst, and there's a cup over there. But anyway, so you're looking for that Robinhood catalyst, you're looking for the burn catalyst, you're looking for the increased amount of holders, which that is happening. But that could take a month or two. It might not. It might spike like it did now. There's no telling, but staking it for a month is probably not a bad idea. What I would do is I'd take a 30-year position, stake that, and then do flexible stakes, because you can always pull it out. But if you really want that 1%, you do a 30 position stake at 1 month, let it go to I don't know, or you can do it a quarter your position, let it go like 7 days, then do another quarter, and then that way, as it rotates out, you'll always have a quarter your position. So if it does spike, you can take some profits and then go back in, or hold cash for the next pullback or whatever. But that's my take on it. It's kind of cool to watch SHIB. I mean, I have a little bit from a long time ago, but I put a couple $100 in it, and it's whatever, it's doubled. But that's not much. It's not a life-changing move for me, but it's enough to watch and get interested in it. It's enough that I'm going to start covering a little bit more on the crypto side. And I've learned a lot over the years. Been looking into it and trying to understand it, because I had an opportunity. I think everybody had, but I was to get into Bitcoin, in 2012, it was 2012, and also mine it, but I didn't understand it enough, and it seemed like, and I wish I would have, obviously, but I didn't understand it enough to really take that plunge with one of my friends that was in the Marines that was doing it. But anyway, I'll talk to you later. Peace.